context, obviously a lot of the Christian stuff comes first. And so I think we may be able to trace the genealogy of the Quietest Islamic politics the other way around, sort of going backwards, and actually find its roots in an older Christian politics. So and I think I made this point, or I alluded to it in one of my Facebook posts on the recent controversy, where I sort of said that I found a link between this type of Quietist politics and sort of what Martin Luther was doing. Generally, we find in Islamic discourse, we have a tendency to sort of go, the Protestants are like our Salafi types because they sort of, they're against all the sacraments and they're against all the other paraphernalia, and they make Islam very, very rigid and whatnot. But because my PhD is on secularism, and I study the history of secularism, and obviously the Protestant Reformation has a big part in that. Although people look at it, different scholars look at it in very different ways. But when I was reading recently a lot about Martin Luther and his work, something was very clear. He has this very strong and almost vicious polemic against the Pope, against all these various Catholic priests, against other reformers who are also against the Pope, against people who leave him. Right? So there's this massive theological debate he's engaged in. But as soon as it comes to the temporal authority, the emperor of the time, the king of the time, whether it be in Rome or in Germany, his native Germany, it's like he's just a pragmatic. He's completely pragmatic.
Yeah.
Right. And in fact, the reason it's so important for secularism is because he solidifies this concept that religion is much more of a private sort of interior, individualized relationship with God.
Yeah.
As for the politics, you sort of leave it, right? And later on, the expression of Protestant spirituality in the world, along with a Weberian reading, Max Weber, becomes very intertwined with capitalism. Ooh. Right? So you're in the world, and your sort of success and your diligence in the world is an indication of God's grace upon you. And you can see echoes of that in lots of things that we see today. So it's important we study that history, but I think the genealogy would work something like this, where the late modern type of quietism, as opposed to maybe other pre-modern formations or forms of it, I think come from previous Christian manifestations of similar things.
Just a quick